Okay, so now we're live. So if I go to my YouTube channel, will I see it?
Yep, we are live. What's going on,
We
everyone?
are live. What is up, everybody? Want to quickly make sure. We are live. There we go. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Christian Corey. MLB Chatterbox is the channel name, and we are live for the very first time. And today I have my buddy, my pal, and my friend, Mess Talk with Hayden. Hayden on here today. And we're going to be talking about all the stuff that went down today. Of course, baseball is back. Are you happy?
You have no idea. Trust me, baseball not being around was just really, really frustrating. After, like we said,
Yes.
most of you guys have heard it before, but after the 2020 shortened season, nobody, no baseball fan wanted to have anything similar to that, whether that's 60 games, 100 games, or 150. We wanted a full 162, and we're going to get that. There definitely is some changes, good and bad. I will take those changes. I like those changes. I think some of them are fair. Obviously, Christian and I will be going over those much more. But I think, honestly, the lockout ending, we experienced it live together. We were talking off stream. Really, really good big news. Any big moves going on right now?
No, I don't think. Quite weird. Nothing, but okay, this is what I want to talk about. The Carlos Correa thing. Now, there has been rumors that he is a favorite to sign with the Chicago Cubs. Now, me personally, I don't believe that. I just don't believe that. It's hard for me to wrap my head around the idea that the Cubs had Javier Baez. Yes, they traded away Bryant, Rizzo, and Baez at the deadline last season. And of course, you have a guy like Bryant's a free agent. You have a guy like Baez is a free agent. But I just have a hard time wrapping my head around the idea that they traded those guys. Now they're free agents. They didn't re-sign Baez. He went to Detroit. But now they're in on a guy like Carlos Correa, who would you think would be a lot more money than a guy like Javier Baez. I just cannot wrap my head around the idea of them legitimately being players in this.
Yeah, obviously, Baez, obviously you're a Tigers fan, so I obviously think you applaud Baez going to the Tigers. But in terms of the Cubs, they signed Simmons today. Really kind of interesting move for the Cubs. Obviously, we knew that, like you said, when they were talking about signing Correa, I'm like, so they're back to their rebuild's finished? It's kind of odd. You don't see, them send away Bryant, Rizzo, and Baez, and some other guys, whether it's some pitching staff or whatever, mixed in. And then, I don't know, 6 months later, shop the biggest and arguably the best shortstop on the market. That would have been a little odd. Yes, I get it. Some of those Cub key players that departed kind of had an inadequate relationship with the Cubs front office. We all know about what went down there if you're a Cubs fan. So maybe that's why those three specific guys would have not wanted to come back to that organization after, I guess, I don't know whether it's being belittled by the front office, by service manipulation or whatever, regardless. It's really interesting. I never really had Correa to the Cubs. I had it up there, but not as like my number one, number two possibility of a choice. But yeah, really interesting thing.
Yeah, so let's get some. Any of you guys have questions? See Liam, I'll show his thing, his little question here. Thoughts on the DH in the NL? First, real quick, I love it. I think it's a great idea. I see no problem with it. Obviously, there's not going to be a major discrepancy between the two leagues now because that was the one thing that made them different, I guess you could say. But honestly, at this point, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you had Shohei Ohtani in the National League, a guy who is a legitimate pitcher and a hitter, I guess that's one thing. But he's not in the National League, and there's nobody else like him in the NL. So it's not like you had a guy like Shohei Ohtani, on the Mets who who could hit and who could pitch very, very well, and you wanted to see that type of spectacle. But there wasn't a guy like that. That's the point. And now, they got rid of it, and it's really not that big of a deal. And now, maybe guys, and maybe this wasn't a huge factor, but guys who are out there in the free agent market, particularly high-end starting pitchers, maybe some of them are leery of the National League. Not saying this is actually a thing, but maybe some of them could be leery of signing with National League clubs. Now there is no worry for any of these guys to sign with whoever. They have 30 teams are in. Why? Because they both have the DH. They won't be able to hit, and it will be a more straight up game. A more straight up playbook as well. Obviously there's no skill to it. I guess you could say the strategy is lost. Yes, but I will say, honestly, only pure baseball fans really knew what the hell was going on with the double switch. So it's I think it's a good thing. Your thoughts?
Yeah, obviously, as a National League Baseball fan, I am a New York Mets fan. Big surprise. If you were to ask me a year ago today, Hayden, what's your take on the DH? I would have said I don't support the DH. I was a fan of the classic National League Baseball mentality until a lot of things kicked in this season. The big thing was with Jacob deGrom. Jacob deGrom had his fair share of injuries this past season. Yes, some of them, were forearm, pitching related with the velocity increase, whatever. But there were some rumors that him swinging the bat was causing some lat tightness right here. So that's what they were saying. And it makes sense why that could happen. Then I'm starting to say, okay, you're having deGrom, who's having a Hall of Fame season, getting jeopardized for swinging the bat. Yeah. We saw Zach Gallen. You know me, I love young pitching prospects and young pitchers that are called up rookies. Zach Gallen, I think he missed a month or two for like an Achilles tear or something pulled or whatever. And then the most famous example, Adam Wainwright in 2014, tore his ACL running to first base in a ground ball and missed 2 months. So the point that I'm trying to make is pitcher's job, in my opinion, is to pitch. Let the hitters hit. I've seen the offensive stats. I've seen the .27, small decimal average. I've seen the negative, WRC pluses and OPSs pluses for National League hitters hitting. And no, let the DH come. Like I said, the Mets benefit from the DH a lot. Yes, of course, a lot of National League teams do benefit from the DH, but the Mets do specifically. Why? Because they have so much room. Like I say, you put Cano against lefties, J.D. Davis against righties. You have so much choices. And, like I say, I feel like there's a stigma that the DH has to be the power hitter. It's not true. Get a guy, Moneyball mentality, that gets on base. That is what the DH could be. I get it. The DH is also a flexible spot. If the Yankees, for example, they put Stanton there. Why? Because he's returning from injuries and he's injury prone. So they don't want to risk him in the field. Even though last year played pretty solid in the field, but, the 2 weeks he was out there. So I think the DH has so much to this game. It's going to help expand the game more. Pitchers hitting. I was lucky enough to see Jacob deGrom hit his last homer.
Yeah.
2019 August.
Exactly. Right. I guess it is his last homer. Yeah.
So I was lucky enough to see
that. For a second, I was like, wait, oh yeah, that's right. It is.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm glad. Let the hitters hit, let the pitchers pitch. That's all I got.
I think that's I agree with you 100%. The game needs to be more stagnant. But also, I want to get to this question by Matthew. Seems like everyone is waiting for the Carlos Correa announcement. Then the floodgates will open. Now, I see that happening, and I have some somewhat breaking news here via Twitter. TMZ reports MLB star Carlos Correa is selling his Houston mansion just days away from his official departure from the Astros. So he sold his mansion in Houston. Now, obviously, he's not going back to Houston. Astros. They can be, scratched off. They are not re-signing him. That just solidifies it. Any speculation otherwise is now irrelevant and inaccurate. So, with that, what do you think this news story says about? Obviously, he's not going back to Houston, but where do you think he could go? Obviously he moved and he sold it, so we have no idea where his new home is. So obviously, you have to know like where you're going, at least have a 95% certainty that you're going somewhere else other than Houston to actually do this big type of family move of selling your home. So your thoughts on this breaking news story by TMZ?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Correa honestly leaving the Astros is, I don't know, like it kind of makes sense that he's leaving. Like, I get it. I think as much as he would like to stay there, I just don't think, I'm not a Houston Astros front office expert, but I don't think they really are willing to go forward with a long extension for Correa. Obviously, he's much more valuable than what he would be. I mean, what did the Tigers offer him before the lockout again?
I believe it was I forgot the years. I think it was like a 10-year, $245 million.
Yeah,
it was 245,
and he declined. So I mean, the Astros would have to go much more. And the Astros, they have other guys too. Listen, they lost Springer and they're not using Correa. So I mean, maybe you trust the farm. I mean, I don't know, but they have some talent on that team. Don't get me wrong. Kyle Tucker. I mean, I'm obsessed with that dude. OPS merchant right there. Jose Altuve, whether you hate him or don't like him, he's still a solid ball player in my opinion. Yuli Gurriel, Yordan Alvarez, they still have some talent there. Obviously, their pitching development is awesome. As a Mets fan, I could say their pitching development is awesome. So, really no concerns for the Astros going ahead. But in terms of Correa, Correa's, I mean, he's the shortstop. And usually shortstops are the biggest guys in the market right now, a lot of guys were set. I mean, Simeon signed quickly. Seager signed quickly. I mean, and they get the biggest deals. Right now, Correa, I mean, he's prime age. How old is Correa? Correa is, Correa, in my opinion, is literally the definition of a 5-tool player. He's 27 years old. That's literally prime age entering. He's a 5-tool player. He could hit for a high average, hit for some power. He has some nice pop in his bat. He could hit for some long balls, hit for an average, have some speed on the base paths. He has above average defense. We see that dude's arm. He is throwing 100-mile-per-hour missiles, turning double plays from the shortstop position to first base. Whoever's playing first base, likely Yuli Gurriel. The dude is a monster on the field and at the batter's box. He has playoff experience. I think that'll go a long way for a lot of teams. I know some teams, personally, I don't really know where I could see him going. There's so many locations. I mean, people are saying the Yankees. I don't know how that chemistry would work. Maybe, I know the Tigers were allegedly, in talks of signing him, but it kind of came down to they signed Baez, and I don't think the Tigers organization was willing to spend the money on both Baez and Correa. They could have easily, I mean, in terms of the money, they could have made it work. You put Correa at third, or maybe you put Baez at second or third, and then you put whoever is at short. So they could have easily made it work, but the money comes down to everything at the end of the day. So as of right now, I think there's many options. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about re-signing with the Astros. It's a possibility, though. You never know. But Yankees, Cubs, Mariners, I can see kind of.
I don't know. I mean, the Mariners, I don't know. I mean, I feel like when it comes to the M's, and I think we have a question regarding that. Correa to Yankees, Cubs, Mariners, or even re-signing with the the re-signing with the Astros is out because, as we just mentioned, he sold his house in Houston, so the Astros are gone. But the Cubs and the Mariners, now the Yankees, I could see that being the number one spot for Carlos Correa. He's that type of guy. Yankee fans are going to say, we don't want him. But you guys deep down, you don't give a crap, who is going to, be on your team. I mean, if he's wearing the pinstripes, you're a fan. Let's just be honest. That's the way it is. So any Yankee fan who says we don't want Carlos Correa because of what happened in 2017 is just straight up lying to themselves and lying to the world. I got probably, as of now, Correa number one. I know they're saying Cubs. That's my personal preference or opinion, is that I just don't see the Cubs signing Correa. I have the Cubs very, very low on my list when it comes to signing a Carlos Correa or anybody, in the upper echelon of free agents, even starting pitchers, even like a Carlos Rodon. I know he just signed with the Giants, but a guy like that, I couldn't see him signing with the Cubs just because I feel like I know they just signed David Ross to an extension, but I mean, maybe that's the only sign that you could say, well, the Cubs are actually, they don't want to win, or they actually want to win now. They don't want to rebuild, which I could see why. I mean, they last time, prior to 2016, they haven't won since, 1908. So, I mean, they don't want to do this whole rebuilding thing. And of course, the White Sox are now competitive. They have that mark to compete with now. So they want to compete with not only, within their league, but which is pretty tough, but also in their own city, Chicago. The White Sox are defending AL Central champions. They want to play with them during the season and get their tickets, sales up as well. So signing a guy like Correa creates excitement and not, and doesn't discourage the Cubs faithful coming into 2022. Now, when he says the Mariners one, that's an interesting one. I could see them going number 2 when it comes to getting Carlos Correa because they were in on Baez, as you remember. I made a video on that. Top 10 places Javier Baez could sign with, and I believe my Mariners was in my top 5. So Mariners were in on Baez, so obviously they didn't get Baez. Now maybe they pivot to Correa because the thing is, when you sign a guy like Robbie Ray to that type of contract, a reigning Cy Young Award winner in the American League, you have to go out there and get another big name, sign a guy to a long-term extension. The Mariners haven't made the playoffs in 2001, the longest playoff drought in North American sports. So they had never won a championship. So they've been in Seattle since what, the 70s, I think, right? The 70s.
Well, they were there. I remember the Pilots.
The Pilots, that was, kind of. And then actually the Pilots turned into the Brewers, but
yeah,
but they were, I think they became the Mariners in the late 70s. I think 77 that was. So
something like that, yeah.
They need to win. So I see Correa going to the Mariners too. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I said, Correa, like I said, he's a 5-2 player, and I'm not going to repeat what I'm saying. Right. But realistically, it's so hard to determine. There's so many more teams right now that are willing to spend. I mean, people are saying the Marlins, but Jeter left. And I question, did Jeter leave because Bruce Sherman wasn't letting him spend money? Or did he leave because of other issues? But that's besides the point.
Yeah.
Marlins and Tigers both said they're willing to spend. I think the Tigers are out of the books. You and I can both agree.
Yeah, because of the owner. Because the owner is Chris Ilitch is not like his dad Mike. He's not going to spend that type of money. But I digress.
Right, and I think there's obviously plenty of options for Correa to land. Call me crazy. I think there's still a small chance he can go to the Mets. I would kind of say to myself, have fun playing catcher. I mean, I don't know where they really put him, but plenty of options. I mean,
Dodgers.
Call me crazy. Yeah, I mean, the Dodgers are something. Nah, not really.
The Angels. How about the Angels?
The Angels could be, but are they willing to spend the money?
They love their big bats.
That's true. Are they willing to spend their money on a big guy? Because let's be real, the Angels
I think that'd be a terrible idea, but that's just me. They need pitching.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the Correa thing is interesting. I mean, like I said, so what would be your top 3 landing spots for Correa today?
I couldn't even think of. I mean, it's like
Mariners.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of right now, like there's so many
Yankees.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably realistically have to say Mariners, Red Sox.
That's interesting.
Yankees, maybe the Orioles. Like, that's the thing is a lot of these rebuilding teams. There were reports last month that hit that Correa and the Orioles were talking before the lockout.
Yeah, but that's everybody. I don't buy the Orioles. I mean, if he goes to Baltimore, have fun losing your entire career. I'm sorry. They're just. I know they signed. They drafted that catcher number 1 overall. But I mean, they literally just got rid of the Chris Davis contract. Why would you sign up for another hefty contract if you're the Orioles? To me, that doesn't sound logical. But that's your opinion. That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's plenty of opportunities for Correa to land. I say the Orioles because, realistically, I could even see a team that is going to finish below 500 doing it. Think about it. The Rangers, they went out and got Simeon and Seager. They're not going to, win the division, with those high teams there. But hey, you start somewhere, and shortstop is the best position to build around.
Yeah.
The Orioles, who are they going to build around? Cedric Mullins, maybe. Who are the Angels going to build around? Trout and Ohtani. Who are the Nationals going to build around? Juan Soto. There's always that one key player on a team to build around. So that's why, like, when I say some of these teams, whether it's the Orioles, whether it's the Marlins, whether it would be the Tigers, 2 years ago or something like that, there's always one player that, you build around.
Yeah, I think there has to be. And Correa, guys like Correa, guys like Story, even a guy like, I know Kershaw just signed back with the Dodgers, but even a guy like Kershaw could have been that guy for a up-and-coming team. Now, I got this question from Gio. Who should the Mets go after? I mean, you're the Mets guy. Like, what is the next move the Mets need to make?
Yeah, well, hold on. I was reading one thing on Twitter. So obviously the Mets are looking into Yusei Kikuchi, so that's an interesting point to bring up there. But as of right now, I mean, listen, Gio, there's a lot of interesting moves the Mets can take. And, we know, I mean, I've seen you on my channel before. There are plenty of opportunities for the Mets to expand. In my opinion, I think in terms of the infield and offensive production, you're kind of good to an extent. I mean, that roster is filled right now, kind of like last season. You have way too many guys, which is a good thing. I'll take it. Your roster is a little overfilled, in my opinion, which is good. I'll take it. I honestly thought that, once they got, that one day where they got Canna, Escobar, and Marte in like a 4-hour span, I thought that was it for the Mets offense. And then they would go after pitching. After signing Scherzer or whatever. I was hoping they get Rodon, but unfortunately that's out of the case. Really surprised Rodon took a 2-year deal, though. I thought he was asking for a little bit, 5-6 years. But yeah, I mean, realistically, who should the Mets go after? As of right now, Rodon was my number one guy. But I stated in the past, I was worried about the Mets signing Rodon because I was under the impression, because Rodon and his agent said they wanted like a 5 to 6 year deal. And I wasn't giving a guy.
I think you only got a 2-year deal.
and I don't want the Mets giving a guy a 5-year deal when he only pitched one season.
That was good.
Out of his 5 years where he was injured all those years.
7. It was 7 years. I just report on it. 7 years, his first All-Star appearance, first time winning record, first time over 12 strikeouts per 9. First, I think his highest strikeouts overall this past season. So yeah, I can see why a Mets fan like yourself would be leery giving a quote-unquote 5-year deal to a guy who really was a one-hit wonder, in a sense.
Yeah. I mean, right now they're talking about Yusei Kikuchi being a aggressive contender, to quote our Mets fan favorite, Andy Martino, who we all love and adore. Right now, so I mean, Kikuchi could be a fair option. He's not like an ideal starter, but he can go out there, eat up innings, be an adequate number 5 end of the guy. He's coming off of his best year where he had an ERA in the 4s, which was his lowest out of his 3-4 years pitched. He definitely had his fair share of issues with being barreled in the second half. Maybe you want to call him a little bit of spider attack. I don't know. But he has some good stuff, I think, a little bit. Listen, the Mets have one of the best pitching coaches in Jeremy Hefner, who, I mean, he's going to have a busy schedule. So I think Kikuchi could be a fair guy to go after. As of right now, I want pitching and bullpen. Those are the two big things. In terms of the offense, I think they're good. Listen, if they re-sign Conforto, I would be for it. I have no problem with them re-signing Conforto. I'd be for that. Otherwise,
don't give him more than a 3-year deal if you're the Mets.
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, I don't really know what they're going to do with Conforto. That's a story for another day. But as of right now, Gio, I would say one end starter. So whether that's a Kikuchi or a fifth end starter, something like that could give you some innings, that could be solid, and then some bullpen depth. We know that the Mets are also have an aggressive interest in Josh Hader, and obviously the Mets have Edwin Diaz as their closer. So when the Mets are looking into other closers, it's the Brad Hand incident. Are they going to be able to get a closer? Because, you're going to have two guys fighting for that 9th inning spot and then not be able to pitch properly in the 7th and 8th and be a completely different guy. So that's my issue if the Mets are going to go after a closer. But some bullpen inning guys could definitely work. I mean, there's plenty of guys on the Diamondback side that you could try and get something out of. Like Caleb Smith or someone like that. There's plenty of guys that could be sneaky, have some talent in them that are young, develop them more. that could definitely happen. So right now, I would say at least one starter and maybe 2 or 3 bullpen pieces could be nice, as well as Michael Conforto.
Yeah. I got next question here from Gregory. Take on the 12 team postseason format. I like it. I think expanding it is fine. We're in a day and age where, you know, we want to be entertained. People want to see entertaining sports. Expanding the playoffs to 12 teams is fine. Even the 14 I was okay with. I mean, you know, again, there's going to be baseball purists out there who say, oh, no, you know, I don't want it expanded to 12 or 14. I like it the way it is. Was it 10 teams, right? That was last year.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, I like the 10-team format. I mean, the people who say I like the 10-team format were against the wild card format. So it's the same people who are saying that. But in my opinion, I think it's fine. I think it's great. It gives our teams a better shot, being the Tigers and the Mets, who are always, you know, coming into 2022. I mean, the Tigers, they got Baez, they got Rodriguez from Boston. Those are the big 2 moves they made. They have a nice manager in AJ Hinch. That they could get on a run. If you're hovering around 500, you could nab that last wild card spot in your league. So that's a plus, which I think is fine. More entertaining baseball, more markets is the end game. Obviously, there's going to be one champion. We know that, but it's about making money. It's the way it is. It's about being entertained. I mean, honestly, the Tigers made the postseason, and they got, you know, and they got eliminated in the first round. You know, then obviously I would be disappointed, but I would be happy to know that my Tigers, you know, were in the postseason, which is a plus. So I like it. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, you know, like I said, I kind of would have liked them to have a 12 postseason format, if you want to call it that. That's kind of what the ideal thing for me was 10. I think that was fair. 14, in my opinion, was too much. So I'll take in between at 12. I think it's fair. That means the 2019 Mets would have made it because they were the next team up behind the Nationals for that wild card spot. So the Mets would have made it. But, you know, regardless of that, I think it's fair. You know, like I said, it expands the game a little bit more. You know, I'm kind of curious to see more so how the format works for the playoffs, you know, with the buys, with the two best teams. So using last year's record, Dodgers and Giants have a bye, and then you have the wild cards that face each other out.
Listen, wild cards a series now, which I think is good.
And I think that's good too. Gives it more attention. I mean, maybe it kind of defeats the purpose of it being a wild card, but hey, who cares, right?
I think the idea of, oh, like people say as a wild card should be a one game, but if you're a player and if you're a fan, you play 162 of these damn things and you get to one game, and one game decides your fate. And I think that was just an unfortunate thing. Obviously, the A's lost a lot of wild card games. And we've seen in the past that, you know, making the wild card, you know, that wild card really does give you a chance to make it to the World Series. You know, i.e. the 2014 Royals and the 2015 or 14 Giants. So they were also a wild card, correct? So, I mean, you can make it. You can make it. I think the series makes it more entertaining. It gives the visiting squad a chance to go back home and to play in front of their fans potentially. So that's a good thing. I mean, we want to expand to all markets as much as we can. So I like that. I think it was a good move by the MLB expanding the postseason to 12.
I agree.
Now we got next one here. As a Yankee fan, I almost feel like Carlos Correa is falling into our lap. Well, I can't really, I can't disagree with you. I mean, it looks like they are. I mean, the only way Carlos Correa won't be a Yankee will be Brian Cashman's fault. I mean, as of now, I mean, again, we've said it before, the Cubs. But I don't see it, but he's right. I think Carlos Correa, if Brian Cashman doesn't screw it up, then, I think he is, it's going to be inevitable that he's going to be a Yankee. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Gleyber Torres is a big no-no, and Literally, Alex commented it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Mike, I'm sure Mike and Alex, you guys are probably going to want another shortstop. Defensively, this infield was horrible. I don't know if you guys remember the Subway Series. It was, I want to say September, when the Yankees infield got rocked. We saw Jeff McNeil hit a bunt, and he got it past the pitcher. It was that
against the shift? Was that against the shift, though?
It was against the shift. He was able to.
It's not going to happen anymore. It won't happen.
He beat the shift.
Right.
They weren't shifting.
Oh, they weren't shifting.
They weren't shifting.
Oh, I thought they said they were shifting. Okay.
Nah. So that's the thing is, we saw. Gleyber Torres threw the ball and he bobbled it off of Sanchez's glove, and that drove in an extra run to score. Davis, that one where Sanchez couldn't grab the ball and he allowed Alonso to score from third. Montgomery really got rocked that game, and it wasn't on him. It was his poor defense. We saw that play where whoever it was in left field threw the ball to Sanchez, and he had the ball, and VR was out by an hour, but he didn't tag him. He was standing there and tapped his helmet after he hit the plate. So Yankees, they need some infield help. Unless you're going to have a rotation that's full of not many ground ball guys and pitchers that will have a low FIP, fielding independent pitching means that, there's not a lot of contact and it's more so swinging and misses and strikeouts and they're not hitting. Fine, but that's not the case. Yankees, besides Cole, and even if so, besides the Barrels, they don't have many guys like that. Besides maybe Cole to an extent. So Yankees, they need some help. Also, Story could be nice. You bring up Story. No, you didn't bring up Story, but Story could be nice, or Correa could be nice, because they don't give you power also, but they also give you contact. And the Yankees have way too much power on this team. Power is good. I love power. I'm a big Pete Alonso fan. I love power. But when you have a whole squad of strikeout and home run hitters, it doesn't work. Maybe in the postseason it may work, but in 162 season, you need more than strikeout and power. You need guys, table setters. You need table setters. As a Met fan, you have guys like Brandon Nimmo, and the Yankees need a guy like that. I don't think Story is like a Brandon Nimmo, absolutely not. But the point is, the Yankees need some guy that could be a table setter. The first two guys that lead off could be, simple walk or simple base hit, not, home run. No, it's not working for the Yankees. They need a different mentality. No more home run or strikeout mentality. They had enough of that with Stanton, with Gallo, with Judge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did. They need a pure hitter. Obviously, a guy like DJ LeMahieu offered that type of balance, but they don't have another guy like that, and they need to kind of go back to the old school. Don't always worry about hitting the home runs, because let me tell you, the Tigers 2015 had some boppers, and they missed the playoffs by a game. They lost to the Braves. Verlander was on the mound. He was pitching game 162, and they lost a wild card spot. And they had Cespedes. They had J.D. Martinez when he was really good. They had Miguel Cabrera. They had a rotation that was crazy. They had some big boppers. 15 they had J.D. They had Cespedes. They had Miguel, even though he was terrible that year. They had some big boppers on that squad. I don't think Upton was there yet, but yeah, they had some big boppers and they missed. So swinging, going, having an all or nothing type lineup really gives you all or nothing type results. So that's what you got to be leery of when you're the Yankees. Now I have a news announcement. According to iTalk Studios, the Red Sox are in on Trevor Story. Your thoughts on Trevor Story? You just said Correa possibly to the Red Sox. What are your thoughts on this kind of a breaking news rumor?
Yeah, Story to the Red Sox can be fair. I get it. You have who's their shortstop again? Who's the Red Sox shortstop again? What's his name? Xander Bogaerts. You have some guys like that. Definitely, obviously, improving over time. But Story to the Red Sox can be nice. Like I said, it's really going to come down to. Like we said, let's take a look-see at some of Trevor Story's stats. As of right now, we do know that Trevor Story does play inside of Coors Field. And honestly, Nolan Arenado kind of debunked the Coors effect.
Yeah, he did to an extent. And you know what? If you think about it, you're going from Coors, which is a big ballpark, but the thin altitude. But you go to a bandbox in Boston. And should I show the stream there?
Absolutely.
There it is.
So if you guys like Baseball Savant, they're okay. Yeah, maybe not pay too much to the percentile rankings, but you could see he offers speed. That's something that's nice. In terms of the walk rate, it's fair. I mean, maybe defensively he wasn't the best this season compared to his other seasons, but don't take a look too much on this. I mean, he barrels, he hits for some power. When he hits the ball, he could drive it. He has a line drive mentality. I mean, you could look at, kind of his, hit spray, his spreadsheet on the right side of the screen here. You could see he kind of drives the ball. He hits for some power to the left side, but could, hit for some light contact on the right side of the field. And that could be big, especially because Fenway has that really short and shallow right field, right field, outfield, and that wall. I think it's the pesky pole.
Yep.
Pete Alonso. He has a fun time in that corner at Fenway. So regardless, I mean, listen, Trevor and Story are not on the same. Alonso and Story are not on the same level in terms of power and offensive production. Maybe they are, but in terms of power, they're not. But so many guys like Story could easily fit in that ballpark, in my opinion. I mean, if you want to look at some of more of his stats, I mean, Baseball Savant is a great website. I mean, let's go to Fenway. Obviously, he hit 24 home runs this season. If he hit more, he would have likely hit 38. So it's just really interesting stuff like that. I mean, I
love that particular statistics right there, where you see what they could have hit in different ballparks. Obviously, I don't know how that differentiates, all the home games, or is it every single game?
Where the ball lands. And I mean, you could see, obviously, in terms of his pitching, he does pretty solid against fastballs. You can see that is the best pitch he hits. I mean, maybe, I guess, to an extent, a lot of American League guys. I could see him easily having fun with Garrett Cole. Connect some barrels on the fastball and slider, which he seems to like to do. Like I said, don't pay attention too much to the percentile rankings or whatever. Maybe it's not the most appetizing, I guess, but overall, Story can be a really solid player in Fenway, in my opinion. And I think it's going to come down to how long and how much.
Yeah, I think, and also I have an update. Clayton Kershaw takes a $14 million pay cut from $31 million to $17 million with incentives, base workload. So, he got a pay cut, but it may be a hometown discount. But maybe there weren't a lot of guys out there on the market. Maybe he was truly afraid. He's like, you know what? I've been with the Dodgers my entire career. Obviously, if there wasn't this lockout, I could see him going elsewhere. Like the Philly was number one for me. I was big with him going to Philly. But maybe he's thinking, you know what? We're really too close to spring training. I'll take my 1-year deal. I'll stay in Dodger Town out there in Arizona, and I'll stay with LA for another year. And plus, the All-Star game is coming to Los Angeles, so I'm sure he'd want to represent, the Dodgers, during the Midsummer Classic. So I think that was his mindset. I would, like I said, I think if it was a regular offseason, I think there would be a better chance you'd see him not wearing Dodger blue in 2022. But those are my thoughts. I just wanted to quickly update you guys on that little tidbit. Let's go back to Twitter and see what they got going on here. I wanted to. Did I take a screenshot of this tweet? I think I did. I might have. No, I did. Oh. So Major League Baseball has placed Trevor Bauer on administrative leave per the source. Now, I believe, since he's found innocent via the law in Los Angeles County, I think, he's innocent on all accounts. If he was guilty, then suspend him. You should have him leave baseball. He should get out of baseball. He should never even go to another major league ballpark facility again. But the verdict came out. They said it was innocent. According to him, there was a lot of lies and exaggeration by the plaintiff. But you know what? I going to trust what the court said in this particular case. One, because that's all I have to go off of, and B, I have some trust in the criminal justice system. Now, people will say, "Oh, in LA County, there's skepticism, high-profile people, they sometimes they protect them," which I could understand with the OJ thing, but if the court found him innocent, what can MLB find that proves him guilty in their eyes? I don't really know. So obviously nothing, because if they did find something in their own investigation, then that would reopen the case in the actual lawsuit, in the actual criminal court. So to me, why they're suspending him, why he's on another 7-day leave, I believe it's stupid. I believe they are biased against Bauer. I think the commissioner doesn't like Bauer because you know what? Remember this. The commissioner, Rob Manfred cannot take criticism. And here's a perfect example. Not only Bauer, because Bauer has been very critical of Rob Manfred. And most of the time I back him up on this because Rob Manfred has been okay. He hasn't been great. He's not my favorite commissioner. He has great ideas, but the way he communicates, and he admitted it, is lacking to the players. So Bauer doesn't like him. And also, Manfred doesn't like when he gets criticized. Perfect example, firing Ken Rosenthal from MLB Network because he wrote an article about criticizing Rob Manfred. So my thing is that this is a scheme by MLB against Bauer to just kind of screw him. And I really have a problem with that because they're playing favorites here. And I think the union should back Bauer up on this. The union needs to back Bauer up on this. If the union, quote unquote, won, with the collective bargaining agreement with MLB in this past week, if they, quote unquote, won and they got what they wanted, getting Bauer, off the hook for the 7-game suspension or whatever should be a piece of cake. I think he should be in Dodger Town right now with the Dodgers or whoever. I mean, obviously that's up to the Dodgers. They want to bring him back. Of course, he posted a picture with him in a Reds uniform that was sketch. It was like, oh, okay, why are you doing that? I see why people see that. But I can see why people say that. But I believe whoever the hell he's playing for, he needs to be on a major league roster in a major league starting rotation by opening day. It's simple as that. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you're the Bauer enthusiast.
I am a Bauer enthusiast. I like the guy. I think he's done great things for the game. I really do. I love his YouTube channel. Obviously, if you guys check out my Trevor Bauer video when I first reported on his alleged case, I was critical of Bauer. I was very critical of Trevor Bauer because of what happened in the evidence was like, oh, he was guilty 100%. So I was against him. But did I still like watching his vlogs? I liked watching his vlogs prior to everything. And I liked watching his vlogs. I liked the content he was creating on YouTube. I think growing, baseball on YouTube is the best way. I think having an insight to what a player's life is like was a first and only. I know Bregman tried to do it a little bit. But I really enjoyed his stuff. I think he's a very knowledgeable guy. I think he should continue to do that. And, I think I see Trevor Bauer as a vital asset to the game of baseball when it comes to promotion because he is a reigning Cy Young Award winner. Well, not this past year, but, in 2020 was reigning Cy Young Award winner, Mickey Mouse, whatever. I don't care. And basically, baseball's treating him like he's the enemy. I mean, think about this, guys. Think about this. Baseball is treating Trevor Bauer worse than they treat guys like, I don't know, maybe a guy like Piazza, who was, steroids, very suspicious on the steroids. Guy like Pudge Rodriguez, suspicious on the steroids. Guys in the past who've been very suspicious on steroids, they treat them better. I could even make the case they treat Barry Bonds better because remember, Barry Bonds was back in baseball as a hitting coach. So it's like they treat those guys better than they did Bauer. So that's my thought on it. I think he needs to be back with the Dodgers.
Yeah, I mean, put up Gregory's comment. I literally that's literally what I would have to say. Do whatever you want on your free time, as long as it's not illegal. But
yeah, I mean,
I could care less what you say or what you have to do, as long as he's not, being, doing any of this arbitrary stuff on social media. Exactly that, Greg.
Yeah, he says care less. Which hey, that's his opinion.
Not illegal or anything, completely
right? Yeah. And I respect his opinion. Maybe he's not a big Trevor Bauer fan, and that's fine. I mean, again, I'm a YouTuber. I like to watch YouTube, so I enjoy that stuff. But if you don't like him, that's fine. I mean, I can see that. I can respect that. I understand that, so that's fine. But I just think they're treating him a little unfairly, just because the court found nothing, suspicious or wrong with what he did. And it seemed like it was a bunch of hearsay and no concrete evidence supporting that woman's claim. But that's I'll leave that there. Now, I had this question. How about this take? Freddie Freeman to the Yankees, who'd be a nice appreciation in the Bronx with a short right field wall, which I couldn't agree more. Has a nice bat, contact hitter, and great defensively. I think that'd be great. What's that?
Brandon Workman to the Rangers on a minor league deal.
Really?
Yeah.
There we go. But your thoughts on Freeman to the Yankees? I like it. I think what Alex said here is right on the money. I mean, short porch, glove is great, contact guy. He's not a big swing and miss guy. He's a pretty, all around great hitter. Even just besides the power, he can go gap to gap. He can go to right field more. He stays through the ball. He has some, decent speed for a guy his size and who plays first base. So your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Freeman or Olsen, really any lefty at bat, which has some nice pop in there at bat, can really mean something. I mean, personally, I think, in my honest opinion, Matt Olson would probably be a better guy for the Yankees. Yes, Freeman is much better than Matt Olson, in my opinion. But, I mean, Freeman and Olsen have put up pretty solid stuff. I mean, taking a look at Freddie Freeman, I mean, perennial player. I mean, really unfortunate what's going on with him. I mean, bias aside, I kind of would like him to go back to Atlanta. Call me crazy. He's their franchise player, not named Ronald Acuna Jr. So it'd be absolutely shocking to see Freeman on another team, especially continuing possibly being a rival, if that's, the New York Yankees, if that's the case. But as of right now, I mean, Freddie Freeman, he could have a really nice time with, that, like you said, the short porch in right field. He could have a really nice time with that, pull the ball a lot. Like I said, he gives you some power, some contact, hard and light. Yankees need some of that light contact. Freeman can provide that. He'll hit home runs, but that's not his main goal. He, get on base kind of. He'll hit for high average on base, 5-tool player, in my opinion. I mean, first base, it's kind of hard to judge a first baseman's defense. Really, I guess, scoops above average if it's not a stat, but it should be, in my opinion. But, I mean, listen, you're talking a guy, 5-time All-Star, recent MVP, just recently won the World Series, postseason experience. Yankees in the postseason these last couple of years have not been very good friends. So Freeman could definitely solve that. I don't know what Cashman and Boone's remedy is to fix that. Like they said, he's a left-handed at bat. They needed some left-handed remedy throughout the season. They brought in Gallo. He wasn't quite the guy exactly. So maybe Freeman can be that left-handed remedy. But I mean, Freeman, you're talking a 138 plus, OPS plus player with his career. I mean, just completely, 295 career batting average, a 138 OPS plus, a 509 slugging, 893 OPS, career stats. He's almost at 1,000 RBIs. I mean, a 43.1 WAR. I mean, just completely solid stats. I mean, his O-WAR is 4.5. That's pretty solid in my opinion. His D-WAR, negative 0.7. All right, not the worst thing in the world. And his O-RAR, which is runs above average level, is 46. And this is obviously coming off of 2021. So defensively, he is a wizard. There's no question about that.
He won an MVP for what it's worth.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, MVP, and so much to this Yankees team, this Yankees squad that, like I said, all teams have that one key player that helps them win the World Series. Say what you want about the Dodgers, but maybe that one move they needed was a guy like Mookie Betts to help them win the World Series. All teams have that one guy. The Braves, who was that guy? Maybe it was Jorge Soler or Eddie Rosario. They always need that one guy, and they always get that. So who knows? Maybe Freeman could be that one guy to end the Yankees' 12, 13-year playoff drought. I mean, we're World Series, my bad.
So, interesting tweet by Correa there. So there's Parker, or I say it? Park
Air.
All right. Hot take: Phillies finished fourth in NL Central, or Pirates finished fourth in NL Central with minor league additions to major league team like Onel Cruz and Rosny Contreras. Yeah, I mean, it's is it a hot take? I guess. I mean, the Pirates, I don't know. I mean, what? I mean, the Reds, like, what are the Reds doing? Like to me, that's the big question. Are the Reds like buyers? Are they neutral? Because in the division, you have the Cardinals, who remember made the playoffs last year. You have a team like the Brewers, defending NL West champions, or NL Central champions, and you have a team like the Cubs, who seems like as of now are in win now mode or in buy mode. So the Pirates in fourth, it could be tough. I mean, I could see that happening if I don't know, like the Reds really just have a down year, and somehow they sneak up in the fourth place. But is that a hot take? I guess for the team that you're talking about, sure. I'll consider that a hot take. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, the Pirates, O'Neill Cruz, I have definitely I'm going to start doing more research on him, because he's looking like an interesting character, an interesting piece to that team. Extremely high on base percentage, so definitely keep an eye out on him. Pirates, like I say, they're kind of in that weird stage of the rebuild to trying to get bounced back. I mean, unfortunate Adam Frazier, really they lost Adam Frazier, but regardless, he didn't really finish off super high in the second half. Kind of a first half wonder, I guess. We'll see how he does with Seattle in the second half. But in terms of the Pirates, listen, Brian Reynolds, fair piece. I think it's coming down to, a lot of their prospects being called up. Some guys, whether that's, Brian Reynolds to carry this team, who I really like Brian Reynolds. Who else do they have? Honestly, it's been a hot minute with baseball because of the whole damn lockout. But I mean, like I said, they're in an interesting division. They have fair guys. Key Brian Hayes, that's who it was, the young prospect guy. Yeah. He is looking like a wizard at the third base. And with the bat, hopefully you can try and get something out of him. Right now, I mean, it's not like you have a whole lot of guys you could really try and. The point is, you have 2 or 3 guys that you could build with, and like I said, you need 2 or 3 guys to start to build, and you build around them. So whether those 3 guys consist of your third baseman in Key Brian Hayes, your center fielder in Brian Reynolds, and I believe O'Neill Cruz is a shortstop or second baseman, correct me if I'm wrong. So you have those 3 guys to build there. Now, you get a couple arms or something like that. I mean, guys like JT Brubaker, okay. I mean, I don't really know how much you're going to get out of that. Mitch Keller, I don't know. I think signing Jose Quintana wasn't bad. I mean, listen, he's not, a famous.
He's all right. He sucked. He was terrible. He was terrible.
In my opinion, I mean, on a team like the Mets or the Dodgers, he's probably, a number 5 star.
Terrible with the club, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was pretty horrible. I don't think he pitched a whole lot this season.
I mean, those are the guys that, I could see a Carlos Rodon having that type of year with the Giants, unfortunately. Having good 1 year, get traded, he's just going to suck. That's my personal opinion. I mean, the ballpark could help him out, but that was just kind of my little comp there. But anyways.
Yeah, but like I said, they're going to start relying on the farm hopefully soon. I mean, like I said, a lot of their guys should be called up soon.
They have a tough division to work within, but, eventually their time will come, and hopefully they can't pass a wild card. Got 15 people in the chat. Got 15 people in the chat. MLB, what's that?
We got some news.
What's the news?
Sources, Dodgers making a strong push for Freddie Freeman and offered him a multi-year contract.
I was just going to say that. Pull up your Twitter. If you can, my friend. While we're kind of waiting and seeing of what's going to happen with Freddie Freeman here and the Dodgers, I mean, obviously Freddie Freeman, I'm prepared for that. I could see that happening. We just did the Yankees. I think the Yankees and the Dodgers are big players in this because, again, you have a guy like Max Muncy who's coming off a shoulder surgery. Who knows what he's going to be defensively? Who knows if he can pick it well? I mean, if you're the Dodgers, if they get Freddie Freeman, I think Muncy is the odd man out because they have a guy at second base already in Trey Turner, right? So, right? He'd be the odd man out, correct?
Say that one more time.
If the Dodgers sign Freeman, he's going to first.
Correct, and then
is Muncy the odd man out because
Muncy would go to second because of that elbow injury or whatever injury he has. I think regardless, they did say Dave Roberts came out. I think it was today or yesterday.
His elbow, yeah.
He's set to start the season. In my opinion, he'll probably play second. He could be the DH. That could be a possibility. Like I stated in the past, the DH and injury prone, or not injury prone, but guys recovering from an injury do kind of connect. So like I said, they have a lot of moves for the DH role. I think Muncy, although if you want that full time wanting to get in on the action, it would be second base in my opinion. The DH could absolutely work, don't get me wrong, but I think in terms of wanting to get that everyday action, I know there's a lot of guys in Major League Baseball that are completely different guys playing on the field and then just DH. There's plenty of guys that will get different results, and who knows, could Muncy be that guy? I don't know, but if Muncy wants to get if he doesn't want to be the DH and he wants to be playing the field, 2019, he played second. Yeah. Base. So he could do that. Everyone says, oh, Gavin Lux. The dude's been in the organization. He's been a Rookie of the Year candidate since like 2017. So I don't know what they're doing with him. Like I said, you got Turner at short. Leave Trey Turner at short.
Yeah. I just wanted to do a quick little note here. Guys, we've got 18 people in the chat. That was great. Just a little friendly reminder. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to MLB Chatterbox here on YouTube. Also, Mets Talk with Hayden. But we're not done yet. I mean, we still. I just wanted to get that message out to you guys. That's the best way to support both of our channels. We really appreciate it. I know Hayden would, and so would I. I'll be, we're doing fun stuff here on the channel. We have a little collaboration coming hopefully soon between me and Hayden. We'll announce that shortly. But Gregory said MLB new CBA had tentative agreement that the All-Star game will go to extra innings. Will not go to extra innings, and instead will decide by home run derby. Remember, you told me about this, and I like it. I know your thoughts are positive as well. I think it was a good idea. It's entertaining. It doesn't matter. The All-Star game doesn't count anymore for home field advantage in the series. So, hey, go crazy. Go crazy. I don't care.
Absolutely. Yeah, great way to expand the game.
Got comments flying in here. Let's see. Rebuild, Dodgers. Muncy at first just said that. Muncy most likely the DH. We forgot about the DH. Muncy could go to DH. This was a Mike Parker. Muncy will most likely go to DH. That is a good point. I'm not going to lie. That slipped my mind a little bit here. I'm still thinking traditional rules here, but I can see Muncy going to DH. That would help him as long as he can swing. As long as he can swing, I could see him being an everyday DH in Los Angeles. Let's see. Another hot take. Shohei Ohtani wins home run derby and the All-Star game MVP. Well, he didn't do it last year in Colorado, so hopefully he can do it in Los Angeles. Kind of a home away from home from him. Of course, he plays with the Angels, so he'll be just going up the road to Chavez Ravine and participating in that event. I could see that happening maybe. I mean, it's a smaller ballpark. I know the Colorado air helped, but smaller ballpark in Los Angeles, actually pretty similar to Angel Stadium, believe it or not. So I could see him winning it in the Chavez Ravine. Do you think Chris Bryant will go to the Phillies? It's a tough one. How about you, Hayden?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, comparable to the Yankees, the infield for the Phillies and defense do not work out very well. Defensively, I mean, at third base, Alec Boehm has not really panned out to be much of a player defensively. He is horrible. As a Mets fan, I could speak with J.D. Davis, but Alec Bohm is on a whole other level. Rhys Hoskins defensively, Gene Segura, a lot of these guys don't connect defensively. And, unfortunately, they have ground ball pitchers like Aaron Nola. He has a high FIP, fielding independent pitching. So that's a worry when you have these ground ball pitchers and an infield that is not the best defensively, that struggles. So as of right now, Bryant would easily help out this team.
Yeah.
The Philadelphia Phillies need the only guys in the Phillies that I really trust defensively are Real Muto and Harper.
Yeah.
So Bryant, bringing in a guy like Bryant, who is a utility guy, you could throw him at third, you could throw him at left, center, or right. That is huge for a team that struggles defensively and has a lot of issues coordinating defensively and in the field. So that could be huge. Overall, Bryant, he hits well against lefties, hits well against pitchers with low velocity, and hits well against fastballs. I mean, those are the three things that killed the Mets last year. So that was my biggest thing with him hopefully going to the Mets, but that seems out the window. I don't know how the Phillies lineup does against, those three specific categories. But as of right now, I mean, like I saw, Chris Bryant was trying to recruit his Las Vegas friend, Chris Bryant, to come to the Phillies. So who knows? Yeah, I definitely think that the Phillies will have some interest.
Yeah, I think the Phillies could have some interest in them. I think their number one interest should be pitching. I think it should be pitching. I mean, I think getting a guy like Zach Wheeler, a couple of years ago, that has not turned out great for them. He's been terrible. You can just ask, Luke. I mean, he's been terrible. Dave Dombrowski needs to be the Dave Dombrowski that he was in Detroit. He has money to work with. I think he's baseball player operations now, right? I think that's what Dave Dombrowski official title is, president of baseball ops, not the GM. But I think he needs to he needs to spend some money in Philly, and I think spending money, the best way to do so is starting pitching. I mean, hey, if you want to go after Philly, go after Chris Bryant, have at it. I mean, go ahead. I mean, people aren't going to criticize you by it, but there might be, he could have got pitching. He could have got Rodon, could have got Kershaw. Of course, that's out the window now, but could have got guys like that. The fear is, which I think this is a good point. I just thought of this. If you're a Philly fan, you don't want the Phillies to be like the Angels, where they just go after bats. That strategy and that philosophy does not work. It just doesn't. It's never worked with the Angels. Didn't work with the Tigers in 2015, and it's not working with the Phils. You have your big bat. You have Bryce Harper. You're paying the guy $300+ million. If that's not good enough for you, then I don't know what is. You have a JT Realmuto behind the plate, who's a good catcher, who's a good hitting catcher, the best hitting catcher in the league, one of them. I mean, you had a guy like McCutchen is also a free agent now, but you had McCutchen. You had Didi who was there as well. You had Segura, who was a good hitter. So you had Hoskins. You had guys like that who were big bats, and you couldn't make the playoffs. Now you have expanded playoffs. So this ups your chances of making the postseason. So if you're the Phillies, how can you exploit those chances? How can you better exploit those chances? My opinion, go after pitching. Go after pitching. That's the best route to get to the postseason, because that's what you want to do. You haven't been there since what, 2011, right? I think so. I think it's imperative that the Phillies focus on pitching right now. I know there's not a lot of guys out there. Kershaw was kind of the big guy, but do it via trade, something. I mean, I have the worst farm system in the league, so I guess you can't really do a trade. But the Phillies are in a pickle. They're in a pickle. The difference was that when Dombrowski was here in Detroit, he got Miguel Cabrera. How did he get Miguel Cabrera? Via trade. I mean, he got a lot of guys via trade. He got Scherzer via trade. I think he got Porcello via trade. He got Fister via trade. He got Price via trade. So he had money and he had prospects to work with. Now in Philly, he just got the money. And this free agent market, pitching sucks. starting pitching. It sucks. I mean, that's just the way it is. So that's my point. Go ahead, go get Bryant, do what you want to do, but don't be complaining if you're a Philly fan. Don't get all hyped up right now when they go get Bryant, and then they're out, 5 games back of the division lead, because they don't have any starting pitching, because all their games are, the games that they win are, 10-2, or excuse me, not 10-2, 10-11. Don't complain. That's my point. So that is that. Let's see. Phillies get Rizzo. I mean, same point as I made about Bryant. I mean, pick your poison.
There was one comment with Omar, if you wanted to click on it. What do you think the Padres will do trades or free agency? If you
Omar, let me see.
Right above Strikelets.
Say it again.
Omar, the green little character.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Omar. What do you think Padres will do? You can go.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, Padres are in a really interesting stage right now because kind of like the New York Mets combined, both of those teams were extremely highly rated going in. They had a great first half.
Yep.
And then they just took a huge dive towards the All-Star break in the second half. Listen, I'll give the Padres props. Offensively, Slam Diego. Offensively, they really had a nice first half. I think their pitching is what really kind of let them down. Obviously, signing Yu Darvish and trading for Yu Darvish and Blake Snell were huge, and obviously they let them down. They were not themselves. They looked like completely different guys. Some other guys consisting of Joe Musgrove. He had that no hitter. He started off nice. Like I said, a lot of these guys, had a little rough bit in the first half, and then in the second half, they had started to get together and, continued. Dinelson Lamet was injured. Chris Paddock wasn't really seeming to be, a fair guy. Some of their bullpen, wasn't bad. Whether that's a guy like Tim Hill or, Drew Pomeranz or whoever. You bring up Mike Clevenger. Yeah, Clevenger should be interesting. Hopefully, we'll see how Clevenger, he's coming back from Tommy John, so I don't think he's going to be like, an elite dominant guy. I mean, the Padres are going to have to be very cognizant with how they use him because, Tommy John, one wrong thing, boom, it's end game. So they got to be careful with him. But, Clevenger, he's definitely going to be solid.
You need him to have a good season, Clevenger.
And this is my also thing.
Snell. Remember about Snell. Snell had a down year. You need him to bounce back.
I think, yes, guys like Machado and Tatis can definitely lead. One thing I noticed with the Padres is they have a lot of guys that have like an MVP season for 2 months. And what I mean by that is look at so many guys like Will Myers or Grisham, or whoever offensively, Eric Hosmer, whoever offensively on that roster.
You're right.
For, April or May, they'll be outstanding.
So right.
And then just like they look like a completely different player at the plate. We won't see any fundamental hitting. They look like completely different players. So hey, listen, I understand that. So maybe they need a new mentality. I don't know what it is. I think their bullpen's fine. That rotation, the names are there. It's just the production we weren't seeing. They got into slumps and they couldn't bounce back in time. I just think, a lot of these guys weren't on the same page necessarily, maybe. So, we'll see. They have new management, so that's going to be one thing. Mets also having new management, so Mets and Padres fans will ride out the new journey together, with some new acquisitions and new management, new front office. So we'll see. But Omar, in terms of who they could sign, I think there's a couple fair options out there. As of right now, I don't really think there's many guys that they're going to go after. I think it's more so prospects is what they're going to rely on because their farm system is deep. They have a deep, like Mackenzie Gore. That is the one guy I am looking after, Mackenzie Gore. 2 years from now, a year and a half from now, keep that name in mind.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to mention, you think about the Padres. The Padres, the deal with the Padres is that what they do, and I think their philosophy should change. What they do is that they view themselves as a small market team in a market, not only a small market, but they view themselves as a destination where players don't want to go. Now, that philosophy should change. They don't have to. A guy who's let's just say this past season had a monster year, like a Carlos Correa or Trevor Story, right? Let's just say they needed a shortstop, right? Guy had a career year, let's just say, and they want to get him. Well, they don't have to break the bank to get one free agent. They don't need to. What they should be viewing it as this: they are not a small market team, number one, anymore. They're a big market team. That's number one. Number two, it's not like you need to convince a guy to come to Detroit. Like, you're in San Diego. It's a beautiful city. I've been there. Beautiful. The weather's awesome. It's always sunny. So the Padres shouldn't have to break the bank in order to convince a free agent, whoever that may be, starting pitcher or position player, break the bank to come to San Diego. They have to change their philosophy. They have to have the Dodger philosophy. Here's the money. I mean, here's our offer. You know what we are. We're a winning organization. We are in a beautiful state. The climate's always nice. We're in the West. Springtime's going to be great. Fall time's going to be awesome. The weather isn't going to be crappy. So they should have that mindset. But their problem is anybody who's a free agent, they go out and they spend the huge money on one guy. Hosmer, Myers, who is
contract.
I mean, Myers, Hosmer, Machado, Tatis. I know that was an extension, but I think that was a good move by them. But they dish out this huge amounts of money to these guys, and they're spending I'm sure like four guys are making like half $500 million. It's ridiculous. I mean, four guys on that roster are collectively are worth $1 billion. They have to be. You have Machado, you have Hosmer, you have Tatis, you had Myers, and then you sign a guy like you had a guy like Darvish. They just signed up, right? He was a free agent signing. You signed him to a big deal. Yeah, Clevenger. I mean, they got to stop being in this mindset of, well, we have to dish out all the money to everybody to get them to come to San Diego. No. You can't do that. You don't need to do that. Give them what you think they're worth. And if they decline, oh, well. You have a great farm system. Start bringing your guys up like you mentioned. That's the luxury that Padres have that I don't think they understand fully. That's my point. Correa still to the Cubs. I don't believe that. Next. Machado, Padres aren't going to have innings limit on Clevenger. He's a free agent after this year. They should, but don't see it. Okay. That's interesting. Machado changed that. Padres seem to have the same roster. Wise, just no Melanson and Adam Frazier. Yeah. I mean, they had the same roster. I mean, again, they're adding guys. Snell, another guy, Snell. Did you really need to dish out that much money to Snell? Guy like Snell. You have a guy like Clevenger coming back, a guy like Musgrove. So it's like they're adding pieces the minute opening day, starts. They're adding three guys, three huge starters, right? I mean that's what they're doing. So they're adding three huge starters once the season starts. Let's see. Padres got some swag. Freeman to Dodgers heating up. Yes. And also I forgot to mention on the Freeman thing, he's a SoCal boy. So that could be a homecoming for him too. So I could see him going to the Dodgers now just because of that. And I know, he's very family oriented. Kind of like a Trevor Bauer thing, and he's from Southern California, Trevor Bauer. Maybe it could be something like that. Let's see. Well, any news on Twitter?
Yeah, I'm looking on my phone. Talks, the quote unquote, are intensifying quite a bit with the Dodgers and Freddie Freeman. Yes. Obviously, the Dodgers would have a juggernaut of an infield if they managed to pull that off. I mean, having an infield of Freddie Freeman, Max Muncy, Trey Turner, and Justin Turner, I mean, that's just insane. And then a possible outfield of Bellinger, Pollock, and Who else do they have in the outfield?
Bellinger, Pollock.
Who's the other? Hold on.
Betts.
Oh yeah. Betts obviously. Yeah.
Elliott.
Great. So they got definitely some talent. I mean, arguably every single position is going to be qualifying for an all-star. And then I mean, catcher, you have Will Smith, easily a top 3 catcher in my opinion.
I mean, the whole senior circuit squad is going to be a Dodgers, basically. I mean,
yeah.
You'll have if you sign Freddie Freeman, there's your first baseman, there's your second baseman, there's your third baseman, and probably Justin Turner, right? You have the outfield's going to be all full of Dodgers, so it's going to be a Dodger affair in Los Angeles this summer. Gio says, "Do you think Posey should have stayed around DH?" No, I don't think so. I think he retired at a good time. He's won 3 rings. He's never lost a World Series. I mean, he's a champion. He's a player. He was one hell of a catcher, a great offensive catcher. The top 10, won an MVP 2012. Kicked the Tigers' butt in 2012 in the World Series with Miguel. I mean, he beat Miguel Cabrera, who won an MVP in his league, got to the World Series, who won the Triple Crown that year as well. And the Giants literally obliterated the Tigers during 2012. Posey hit a home run in Detroit, I remember. It was game 4 or game 3. He hit one in Detroit. That was like kind of the final blow to the Tigers that series. No, I don't think Posey should have stayed around. I think he retired was a perfect time. I think if he stayed, you would have seen a different Buster Posey, a guy who honestly probably his offensive numbers would have gone down because I would think it'd be hard for him to adjust to being a DH every single day. Now, could it help his health when it comes to the knees and the back? Yeah. But I just think mentally, I think it'd be a tough adjustment for him to do that. So I'm glad he retired. And a Hall of Famer as well.
Yeah.
See, Japan are saying the Padres and Giants are leading the chase for Seiya Suzuki, followed by the Cubs and Mariners, with the Dodgers, Angels, and Yankees, among others. See, this is the thing with Japanese guys. They go to all East or West Coast teams. They'll always go on the coast. Saying Gregory, I mean, I believe you 100%. I mean, if you said, the Royals, I'd be, but, you listed off every East Coast team there possibly is essentially, and West Coast team. So I buy that. The Tigers I think the Tigers only had one Japanese player ever in their history, which, I mean, is that like intentional? I don't think so. I don't think there's anything, bad behind that unfortunate phenomenon, but, Japanese guys, they just don't go to the Midwest. They just don't. I mean, Chicago maybe, but they just don't go to the Midwest. So I see that happening. Yes, I can see that happening very, very well. How about Mets? What about the Mets? Yeah.
Yeah, and then I do want to read another comment that I found in the chat that was interesting. Yeah, I mean, Suzuki on the Mets, like I said, outfield-wise, kind of good. One thing that I find interesting about Suzuki is, yeah, I did hear that too, but one thing that I find interesting about Suzuki is for being a power hitter and leading the league in walks and having more walks than strikeouts times 2 is really something impressive from a power hitter. Just the play discipline for a power hitter that Japan has been seeing in Suzuki is crazy because you don't see that play discipline in a power hitter. I mean, we're not seeing Brandon Nimmo play discipline, but we're seeing 280 average. That's pretty interesting. But there was one comment by Anthony Marks. Any news on the Los Angeles Angels? If you wanted to cover the Angels,
yes, I did see that comment. Who's it by again?
Anthony Marks said any Los Angeles news. And yeah, Anthony, I mean, right now, I mean, the Angels have made some fair moves this offseason. I think they've kind of neglected pitching the last couple of years, and they kind of got it. I mean, I think Syndergaard and Michael Lorenzen are fair additions to that rotation. I mean, it's not elite, but it's a start. It's better than, getting some guys in the past like Alex Cobb or whoever. signing Aaron Loop. I mean, relievers are, streaky, so I don't like to pull in full trust, but Loop is coming off of a really solid season with that nice curveball looking really well. I like what I'm seeing in Loop. So, I mean, Angels are looking pretty good. I mean, I don't know what type of moves they're going to make now, but pre-lockout, they made some solid moves. We'll see. I mean, pitching doesn't hurt. Maybe another bat or two for that lineup, a bench piece and some pitching, and I think they really got it rolling.
Yeah, I mean, you can hear me, right?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I agree. Will Bellinger have a bounce back season? Yeah. What? What happened?
Oh, fuck! It's fake. Damn it!
What happened?
Fuck! Someone put a fake thing saying Freddie Freeman official is a fake passing account. Damn, that's messed up.
That's Bo. See, it's that hacker from a couple days ago.
No, it was fake.
Will Bellinger bounce back? Yes, I want to go on this one real quick. I think I told you last night we were chatting privately, and I said Cody Bellinger is my bounce back player of the year in the National League, along with Trevor Bauer if he ever signs with somebody. I think Bauer would be my number. Here's my thing. I had Bellinger number 1. I had your guy Jeff McNeil. I had your guy McNeil number 2, and Bauer number 3. Bauer's only number 3 just because I don't know if he's going to play or not. But I think Bellinger will have a bounce back season. I think if he doesn't, I think he's gone. I think LA is going to trade him. I think I think this is his time to shine, and in LA, I think if he doesn't, you could see him being dealt at the deadline. Whether the Dodgers are in a playoff position or not, there's a hot take. I could see the Dodgers trading Bellinger, whether they're in the playoff race or not. And if he's doing bad and they're in it, I could see them trade him. If they're not in it, he's gone for sure. But I could see them trading him no matter what type of position the ball club is in once the end of July rolls around. So that's my take on Cody Bellinger. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, we were literally talking last night. Really, one interesting thing that I think we're going to have to look at with Bellinger is that long swing. And you watch when he swings, the stride he has. You'll see him, and he'll have that long swing, and it helped him in his rookie season and his first 2 seasons. But I think because of that elbow surgery he got, it's really been giving him a hard time, and we see he just is not connecting well with the bat to ball contact. He is not, and that's something else. Defensively, any issues, I guess. I mean, cool, he's solid, no complaints. But offensively, I mean, his power is what was Cody Bellinger's ISO, which is hold on, ice.
Love the Expos hats. Thank you.
By the way, ISO is isolated slugging percentage. If anyone, he had an ISO of 90, which is pretty bad. I mean, Yelich had a 0 in the second half of last year, so it's the same thing. But yeah, I mean, regardless, both of those guys' power is just gone. Yeah, they both of those guys need to work on something. But Bellinger, he has to control that long swing. I think is going to be the biggest thing for him.
Let's see. Isn't Bauer still with LA? I thought it was a player's opinion now. Let's see. I saw David Ross extended with the Cubs. Yeah. I think this is my thing on that news. That news is a big telltale sign of what they're going to do. And what they're going to do is they're going to try to win, because if they did not extend Ross, right? They didn't do that. Then obviously I wouldn't be as I wouldn't believe the idea that they're out to go get Correa as much. I'm still really not convinced, but I mean, the fact that they re-signed Ross to an extension, I think that's their way of signaling to their fans that they're in win now mode and they want to win. Because, and again, people say, "Oh, Dave Ross is a bad manager. He never won." Blah blah. Well, you know why he never won was because he was given a team that was on the decline. And hopefully they're going to be on the incline this year, coming into 2022. So, I think I mean, hey, who else were they going to get? I mean, they signed him a couple years ago. There's not like there's a big name out there when it comes to managers. Unless Bruce Bochy, you want to get him out of retirement. I don't really think so, but there's really not a lot of guys out there who the Cubs could have choose from if they decide to let Ross go. So I think extending him is fine. That's my kind of thought on it. Now, let's see. Love the Expos hats. I think I already said that. Yes, thank you. We are big Expos fans. We would want to see another team in Montreal.
One interesting comment by our friend Steven, he with the Pirates. I know we kind of just, yes, everyone, that is my channel if you guys would like. I'm giving myself a check. I don't care. Everyone, I'm going to drop, if it's all right with you, I'm going to drop a link to my channel in the comment section. Is that all right with you? If I could do that?
Sure. Go ahead. I will do the same. Well, actually, they can figure out. Yeah, if you guys don't drop a link, because I don't do that.
Yeah, definitely. Feel free and check out my channel, guys. Mets Talk with Hayden.
Get him to, his goal is to get to 600 by opening day. Can we do that, people? The 13 people are in here. Can we get 13 subscribers for Hayden? Mets Talk with Hayden. That would really, really appreciate that. If you guys are not subscribed to his channel, he does some great stuff. Not only Mets news. He's not one of those guys. He knows baseball as well, even though his intelligence of being a Mets fan is leery. I question that part, but that's okay. I'm a Tigers fan, so that's all right. But no, all kidding aside, go check him out. He does great stuff here on YouTube. Mets Talk with Hayden, very knowledgeable individual. And while you're at it, just hit the red button while you're on my channel here. I'd really appreciate it. Trying to get to 1,100. And again, like I said, a lot of stuff coming up this summer. Me and Hayden, we're going to announce something pretty soon, what we're going to do this summer. So go check out both of our channels. We would greatly, greatly appreciate a subscribe and a share of our channels to any of your other friends who may like the sport of baseball. Pittsburgh Park, anybody yet? Nope, they got nobody because they are not good.
They got Jose Quintana.
Oh, they did? Yeah, you're right.
I briefly spoke about the pitching. Like I said, really nothing super crazy up there. Just kind of wait up till, I guess, their farm kind of evolves more.
Here's a good one. Can you guys explain the new playoff format? Hayden, how about you give it a go?
So this is what you're going to get. So we are going to have 12 teams overall in the postseason. Last year, Anthony and everyone else, we would have had 10. So you're going to get an extra team from the NL and an extra from the AL. 6 plus 6 is 12. Yay. So you're going to have one extra team per league. You are going to have the two best teams. So look at 2021. You had the Dodgers and Giants finish with the two best records in the National League. And then taking a look at the American League in the standings for the American League in 2021, the two best teams in the American League were the Tampa Bay Rays and the Houston Astros. So you would get the two best teams in in both leagues. They have a bye. And then you're going to have four more, because 2 plus 4 is 6. You're going to have 4 other wild card teams.
Yeah.
Or not 4 other wild card teams. You're going to have 4 other teams. I think 2 of them would be wild card, and then 2 more would be division or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, Anthony, so do not quote me on this, but this is what I reckon it is. And then you would most likely have something like that. And then the 2 wild card teams would have a series of 3. Best of 3, would it be?
Yeah, best of 3, because I do believe I think it is best of 3, because I know, I think the first 2 games would be would be played at the team who has the quote unquote home field advantage. And then now how would that work? Is a, if necessary, game 3, is that to be played with the team who has the least record, or would they have to go back and forth? Is it one game? So let's say, example, Tigers and the Mets play, or no, that wouldn't happen. But okay, let's just say the Tigers and the Royals played in a wild card together, and the Tigers were better than the Royals. Wouldn't the Tigers have game 1 and game 2, and then if necessary, game 3 in Kansas City, or would it be game 1 in Detroit, game 2 in Kansas City, and back to Detroit in game 3.
Yeah, I mean it's really confusing. I
think that's how it worked because, I assume if you have a series, you want the other team to see one game, right? You want both teams to have home games. Am I correct? I mean, you would assume so. That's why
right.
Series. So I think it would be Tigers, Royals, wild card together. Game 1 in Detroit. You go to Kansas City for game 2. If necessary, you go back to Detroit for game 3. That is, I believe that's how it's going to work, Anthony. Again, don't quote me on this, but I think that is you're right. Hopefully, I think maybe they're talking about you.
Okay, yeah, I believe that's how it was. I believe so.
Yeah, so I think that's how it's going to work, which I think is better than the one game, showdown, and you're done after one game and determining your 162 game season. I mean, that's just was a little BS.
Hey, listen, can I play with you, Steve? I'm a light hitting second baseman. I haven't played in 2-3 years since high school, but hey, man,
let's see. Is Bauer still with LA? Thought it was a player option. You might be right. So, okay, so here's it was a player option. So I assume he picked up the option. That's what happened. If you're in here, Alberto, if you're still in here, I think this is how the Trevor Bauer thing worked. He signed a 3-year deal, right? Being Trevor Bauer with the Dodgers. Each year had a player option integrated. So last year, boom, this offseason, player option. He obviously picked it up because he wants to get paid. So he picks it up. Then they still suspended him for 7 games as of now. I believe it's going to be with pay, just like it was the last season. So I think that's how it's going to work. So he's still with LA technically. They could trade him if they want, but as of right now, he's employed by the Los Angeles Dodgers, and that was his decision alone, because he picked up the player option. But it was the Dodgers' decision to hand down another 7 games for Trevor Bauer. So that's how the whole Trevor Bauer scenario has played out. I'll be a catcher. There you go. There you go. Any news on Twitter? I just want to keep it.
It's been quiet.
If it's been quiet, I mean, I guess it's only a couple minutes till 9. Maybe stay on here till 9, pending anything gigantic happening.
Yeah, I mean, I know they said that Freddie Freeman and the Dodgers are making a strong push. A possible deal can be sources. Freddie Freeman negotiations expected to reach a conclusion in the next 24 hours and possibly by the end of the night. Dodgers strong offer and unclear if the Braves will match.
Yeah. How about this one? MLB doubleheaders, 9-inning games. I think that's a great idea. I did not want to see 7-inning doubleheaders in a non-COVID season. Trust me, if I'm going, I mean, I guess, if I'm going to, if my game gets delayed, right? Let's say I go to a Tigers game in April, and that April game's delayed because of rain.
Maybe go to one against the Blue Jays.
What's that?
You should go to one against the Blue Jays.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, I'm glad they had the 9-inning doubleheaders, because if I was a fan, I bought a ticket in Detroit to see the Tigers play the White Sox in April, and it got rained out or even snowed out, because that happens here, and they rescheduled it for whatever, June the 6th in Detroit. And I have, game 2 or whatever, probably game 1 of a day game. I would not be happy that I spent full price to see a 9-inning game initially, and now that I'm going to go back to the makeup game, it's only going to be a 7-inning game. To me, that's, you're ripping off the fans in that sense. I'm very happy that they did that, because you're not ripping off the fans, because the fans are the ones you don't want to rip off and really piss off. So, I think that was a good decision by Rob Manfred to have doubleheaders be 9 full innings. I like that very, very, very much. Who does Jordan Lyle play for now?
He plays for the Orioles.
Orioles. Jack Leiter pitches today in camp. There you go. How about him?
I
How
did see
about
that.
Jack Leiter? Your thoughts? I mean, he looks like a stud. Obviously, his dad is Al Leiter, the former Met, as you know. Your thoughts on Jack Leiter? I'm sure you follow him pretty closely. No?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, famous son of an elite player. He made a very impressive debut in camp today. I have to look at the slash line exactly. I know he did have a live at bat against Bobby Witt Jr. And I believe Bobby Witt Jr. I think it was a shallow fly ball caught. But let's see how Jack Leiter did slash line wise. We know that there's been talks that, I mean, Jack Leiter has really been impressive the last couple weeks, years.
Yeah, I know Parker Rob. Good decision. What? Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but I mean, today he had an awesome surprise. I mean, 1.5 scoreless innings for Texas. This was his first full-on action game since the College World Series. So that was really interesting, but obviously really good to see him jump back in. I mean, he threw 30 pitches. Obviously, like I stated, one of those at-bats were against the one and only Bobby Witt Jr., top prospect for the Royals, and it was a breaking pitch, and he shallowed it. It was a nice little shallow center BABIP-type hit. So his breaking pitches are actually pretty good. So hopefully Leiter can continue to build upon that. But yeah, I mean, really liking what I've been seeing out of Leiter. I don't know if you guys are, big prospect or minor league type of guy, but he has a nice fastball that's looking good, pounding the zone. He rolls through those innings. He's looking good. He's building up pretty well, I would say.
Yeah, I think he has some good promise. Hopefully, is obviously good genes, so that's a plus. Yeah. Jack in the Box says LFGM. I respond to you with LFGT. Let's go Tigers. Anthony, I would have expected more free agent signings, especially by now. What's there's no draft picks attached? Yeah, there's no draft picks attached. Yeah, I mean, I would too. Honestly, I thought we would have been boom right out of the gates because I honestly, they say, oh, we weren't supposed to communicate, but I was skeptical of that whole rule being enforced. Like I thought the later we got into the offseason and more towards spring training in March, I would have thought that, guys would have been talking behind the scenes, inconspicuously, kind of getting a feel for, who they could really afford, who they want to get after, contacting their agents and such. So I'm with you, Anthony. I'm pretty shocked that today has been somewhat of a slower news day when it comes to free agent signings. I mean, you had Carlos Rodon, you had a couple minor moves, and then you had Kershaw re-signing with the Dodgers, and then you had David Ross extension with the Cubs. So really, only 3 big moves. Today, I would say. So yes, I am surprised by that. Situation. Guitar player 3,000,000,001. 3001. I think that Jason Giambi should come back out of retirement to bring the Yankees another championship. I mean,
hey,
he could.
Anything.
Didn't Giambi get in some trouble though?
I know.
I saw something on him. How about this one? How good are the New York Yankees? I have them in their division. 91 win team. 91.
AL East it's a really tough division. I mean, you got that 4-way struggle to win that division. Yeah, I mean, the Orioles, they're not winning the division anytime soon, but I honestly think they'll put up better numbers than what they did maybe last year. So as of right now, Yankees, I mean, they got Garrett Cole. They need some more rotation depth. I question how much can you rely on, Domingo Germán, Luis Severino coming back from injury. I mean, Nestor Cortez was a nice surprise. Really put up solid, adequate numbers this past season. Offensively, they need some help. They have a lot of things to address. First base, shortstop, third, they got a lot of stuff to address. Do they want Gary Sanchez at catcher? They got a lot of stuff to address, the Yankees.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, they have a lot of stuff to address. I got to be a 91, 90 win team. I mean, do they make the playoffs? Depends on right now. Probably no, because I mean, honestly, the moves in the AL East haven't been a lot of great ones. Actually, a lot of losses. Robbie Ray is gone. I think the Red Sox, looks like they're going to lose Schwarber. The Yankees haven't made a move. And they still have Luke Voigt as their first baseman. That's terrible. Rizzo seems like he could be gone. It's just I mean, Gallo's still there or whatever. I don't know. I mean, right now I got him at a 91 win team as of right now. So, will they make it? Maybe grab a wild card spot. I think with the expanded playoffs, yes. I have to think new. I have to, remember that the expanded playoffs. So, yes, but I don't see them winning the division. I see actually the Blue Jays winning the division this season. That's my early prediction. Do you think Roberto Clemente's number should be retired? If not, whose could be? Okay, so here's my thing on that. We're retiring Jackie Robinson's number is fine. That's great. Roberto Clemente, I think so, because Roberto Clemente is a far better player than Jackie Robinson was. It's just look at the statistics. He had 3,000 hits, 3,000 on the dot. He passed away the season after he got 3,000, and he passed away in a plane crash delivering Christmas presents to kids in Puerto Rico. If that's a little tidbit. So yeah, that's my opinion. Sure, retire it. If Jackie Robinson numbers is retired, do Roberto's. And here's another one, Hayden. Listen to this. I think a guy such as Hank Greenberg should be retired as well. I believe his was number 4. Hank Greenberg, a very underrated player. I believe. I want to make this. Don't quote me on this, but I think he was the first known Jewish player to play professional baseball. I believe that is
Koufax, I believe.
No. Greenberg was before Koufax,
but not like known.
Yeah, he was known.
Not known as a player, known religiously.
Oh, known religion.
Maybe you want about the last name, but
might have been. He might have been.
Because I know what's his face.
Well, you know what? I did hear a story.
Didn't play because of like Rosh Hashanah. I know in September.
I think same thing with Hank Greenberg in the World Series. He did that as well. I read.
Yeah, I was thinking of someone else. Yeah, they called him the Hebrew Hammer. Yeah. No, never mind.
Yeah. So Hank Greenberg, I think he should. If we're gonna go down that route of like the first, African American, the first Latin American, the first Jewish player, the first, if there's a guy who's Muslim, the first Muslim player, sure. I think we should. If you're gonna go down that road all the way. That's my opinion. Obviously, skill wise, Roberto Clemente and Hank Greenberg are far and away better statistically than Jackie Robinson. That's just the way it is. Look it up on Baseball Reference or Savant. Go ahead. Not saying that Jackie Robinson was a bad player. He's not. But I'm just saying, they were both better than Jackie Robinson. So with that said, I do believe they deserve to be, have their number retired. Now, the question is, are you retiring their number just because there's a first to do something? Or are you retiring their number because they were the first, but also because they were actually really, really good? Now, if let's say, a guy like Roberto Clemente was the first Puerto Rican or the first Latin American player to play professional baseball, and he wasn't good, like he was like, average, and you're going to retire and you're going to retire his number just because of that, then fine. But, is skill calculated into that? That's my question. Is skill calculated into the idea that you're going to retire their number throughout all of baseball? That's my question. So my thoughts, if you're going to do Roberto, do Hank Greenberg, do them all. That's my thought. You got to be somewhat fair here. Boston Red Sox are good. I mean, I never count them out. New York Yankees 150. Yeah, sure. Mets are retiring Keith Hernandez. There you go, Hayden. 17.
Yeah. They are retiring Keith Hernandez's number in July, I believe, and they're also, yes, they retired Kuzman last year, number 36. Yes, so they retired Kuzman last year. They're retiring Hernandez this summer, and they're also gonna unveil the Tom Seaver statue next to the Big Apple outside the stadium for the Mets home opener against the Diamondbacks on the 18th of April, I believe, or 17th or 16th. So very interesting. Good to see, good to see Mets owner Steve Cohen kind of starting to honor, the past history of the Mets. The Mets have a lot of guys in the past who Hall of Fame or All-Star caliber material. And, listen, I'm not going to sit on here and bash the Wilpons, the Mets' former owners, but, they kind of neglected to recognize and remember, the past history of the team, whether that's, Tom Seaver, whether that's, Doc Gooden, whether that was Mike Piazza, whether that was, whoever.
Yeah.
It is necessarily always remember some of these guys. And now we're getting, a lot of the recognition with a lot of these former Mets, Carlos Beltran, Carlos Delgado, David Wright, Jose Reyes. We're going to start to see a lot of that, remembrance of, guys. So really interesting to see. I'll say that is the one good thing. I think Alfonso too. Could definitely be a guy down the line. Alfonso.
Jose Reyes. No, okay. Clemente was delivering supplies to Nicaragua. Okay, I thought it was Puerto Rico. All right, that's there you go. Okay, cool. Pirates. Forget the Pirates. Because they were in it wasn't earthquake. It wasn't earthquake. Yes. It wasn't earthquake. I thought it was Puerto Rico because he's from Puerto Rico. But I remember it was Christmas time. It wasn't earthquake. I think he died on like Christmas Eve or day, I believe. Do you think a baseball team could go 162-0? Well, no.
He died on the 31st of December, so New Year's Eve.
Man, I'm off. Man, I thought it was Christmas. Okay. Well, I remember it was like a significant day.
New Year's
Eve. Like an Eve. It was on. I thought it was an Eve. Guitar player, not a chance. Well, any other news? I don't know what else to talk about. Honestly, we could end the stream pretty soon. It's almost 9:00. We've been on here for almost 2 hours. Nothing's been really happening. I mean, they say Freeman's close, but I mean, what? I guess you get the final thoughts here. How would you? I mean, how do you think this? Let's look. Do you play MLB The Show? I do, and I hate the game. It's terrible. Sucks.
Give me 1 second. I want to read this little thing on Twitter.
Okay. Thanks, guys. But yeah, if anybody's in the chat, the 8 people, if you have not subscribed to our channels, go ahead and do that now. We would really appreciate it. It seems like we're going to be wrapping things up here. It's almost 9:00, unless, Freddie Freeman signs a, 13-year deal worth, $500 million with the Dodgers. I really don't know why there's any points to still be on. Checking Twitter. Yeah, but if you guys could go check out our channels, MLB Chatterbox right here. Go subscribe, like the stream, share the stream. It will be up after we depart here. Also, go check out Hayden. Mets Talk with Hayden. Go subscribe to him. Let's get him to 600 before opening day. That would be greatly appreciated.
Please.
He works hard. He knows his shit.
I am Mets Talk with Hayden. Mets, like the baseball team, Talk with Hayden. Do not be fooled by the name. I know it's Mets Talk with Hayden, but you could vouch. I do a lot of MLB stuff.
Hey, Hayden, put your link for the guitar guy.
You actually have to do it because I'm not a moderator, and it won't let me do it.
Okay.
You want to moderate? Do you want to moderate?
No, I can put it in. Go to
Yeah.
YouTube.
Share my link. That would be appreciated. If you guys could subscribe, definitely mean a lot. And like I said, don't be fooled. I know it's Mets talk with Hayden. It's practically baseball talk with Hayden. I love to talk. I'm starting to get into more of the farm system analytics, advanced stats, so definitely, I'm going to be talking about the Nationals, even though this is an Expos hat, the Nationals, Mets, Yankees, Rangers. I'm going to be talking a lot of baseball this season. So
there's the link right there. Just put it in there.
So definitely.
Been on here for about 2 hours, I think, right? 2 hours?
Yeah.
Just about 2 hours. I mean, I could stay on here all night, but I know, it's getting late, but it is a Friday, so it's really up to you. There's really nothing happening. I guess last call for questions, guys. Last call. I guess I'll just say that right here, right now. Last call for questions, comments, concerns regarding baseball, this upcoming 2022 baseball season. We got 10 people in here now. Liam, thank you for tuning in. Peace. All right, I think we're good, dude. I think we're good, guys. So thank you, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to MLB Chatterbox and Mets Talk with Hayden here on YouTube. We both appreciate it. And as always, I'll catch you guys later. So leave studio, right? Do I hit end broadcast or leave studio?
End broadcast.
End broadcast. All right, here we go. End broadcast.